I have felt so excited for Christmas this year in a different way.
Oh.
I don't know why though. Like it's just like I am so happy about the holidays. Do I feel too slouch? Because you have to keep looking back.
I can't see Tara. It's like breaking my
I know.
neck.
That's why I came forward. I said, wait.
How are y'all sitting
There's
up?
another one
Oh,
right
y'all
there.
do have two.
Yeah. No, I was like gonna deal with it, but I was like, you're really gonna break my neck trying to look at you. Wow.
There we go.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's much better, honestly.
A little more cozy.
Thank you. Thank you for holding my mic.
You're welcome.
So you're excited for Christmas?
Yeah, I'm just so excited for it, but I'm not sure why. I'm just like, wow, this is like the best time of the year. But I always feel that way, but I'm like so excited about it this time.
That's good.
No reason though. Just love it.
Yeah.
Do you know the best way to spread holiday cheer?
Singing loud for all to hear.
Yes.
So
sing us a
this is how
song.
you know. I've been watching those cheesy Netflix Christmas movies.
I love those.
Yeah, you love a
that's-
like Hallmark Christmas movie. I'm
I
not
know,
really like that.
I know. That's impressive. I think we're finally rubbing off on her after
Y'all
all
are.
these years.
Because I think I literally said like in the last episode, I like don't really watch rom-coms. I'm just not that kind of person. No, lately I'm like,
Yeah.
and it's like fun and enjoyable.
I think when people watch those and they go into it of this is supposed to be unpredictable, all the things, that's when they mess up. You have to go into it knowing it's going to be predictable, but it's going to be a happy ending and it's going to be great.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I think that's what it is because I'm such a like, all my favorite movies are like my favorite because they're concepts that I'm like, no one's ever done this before. This is so amazing. So when I watch those movies, like we've literally been doing this. We're tired.
Yeah.
But I think this year it's like I went in like not thinking too hard about it. Just something to like make it feel extra Christmassy. And I'm like loving it. I feel like Lindsay Lohan's my new best friend. Because she's like in all of them. Anyway, that literally has no correlation to what we're talking about.
Well, it's okay. It's
just
exciting.
It is. I'm just so excited about Christmas.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's getting to like look forward to something and be hopeful for something, I think is like really good.
And honestly, thinking of where I was at last year, I think maybe I'm just so appreciative of this season and like naturally I'm like reflecting because it's holiday season. So, you know, you're thinking about being with family. And I think for me, someone had told me like year 2, like dealing with loss year 2 is the hardest, which I mean, that's just your experience.
Yeah.
But I guess I kind of like went in thinking like, okay, year 2 is going to be the hardest, like get ready. And it hasn't not been hard. It's just hard in different ways. And so I think last year, like thinking of where I was at last year around the holidays, I just was dreading it. And it was like, honestly, the most painful thing. Just because I knew, even on Thanksgiving Day, I was like, I would normally be seeing my brother. Like, it's so weird I'm not seeing him. Or like, we're going to take a siblings photo and like my brother won't be in it. Like there were those moments.
Yeah.
But I think last year I was just like in complete despair. And so I really didn't care about the holidays. All I could think about was like this person that I love isn't going to be there. And so I think maybe that's why I feel so much joy around it this time of year, because I'm not in such a dark place like I was.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that could be a tie-in. But anyway, I got through that.
I do think oh my god,
It keeps attaching to your
my
hair.
hair. Anyway, I do think the reflective piece is really good going into the holidays. I think, one, I'm so glad that you're in that place, so praise the Lord.
Truly.
But also, I know on Thanksgiving, I was trying to plan out my day as I always do and thinking, okay, like at this time we're going to do this, at this time. Maybe not everyone's like that, but that's like how my brain works. And the Lord kind of convicted me for a little bit, and he was like, slow down. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And he was like, remember what it was like last year. And I mean, it's no secret, I've talked about it on the podcast, that I was very intentionally praying for my future spouse. And I remember we would always talk about the holidays, like, man, like our sister and your brother would go off with their other family, and then we'd just be there like, okay, I guess Thanksgiving's over. Or like, I guess Christmas is over because you don't have it to share with that person. And so we're like, we can't wait to be able to share the holidays with them. It's easy to get caught up in the fast pace of the holidays that I almost miss to sit in the gratitude of like, oh my goodness, last year, this was one of my deepest prayers of like, Lord, like, please bring this person into my life. And like, I can't wait to share those memories with them, and just really praying about like our future together, and like wanting that and desiring that to have that relationship. And so to like pause and be like, Lord, like you did it.
Yes.
And that, honestly, my heart was so filled with gratitude, and I just remembering.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, you're so faithful. And I was like, with you, you're such a redeemer of time.
Yes.
Literally.
It was that's a great way to put it, is gratitude, because Thanksgiving Day, we're coming off, I know for them, they're like, we're watching this way past Thanksgiving, but we're coming off the heels of Thanksgiving when we're filming this.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I feel like I had so much gratitude on Thanksgiving. And it wasn't like this, like, I think for you like had a moment of like deep reflection while you were there. And I'm like, I realized it by the end of the night. I was like, whoa, today was so beautiful. Like, I don't think I've had a Thanksgiving like this in so long. And it like, there was no like, oh, we did this time. It was like, I just had this deep appreciation. Like, I had a moment to like, okay, Trey's not here. And I like got to sit in that moment and like grieve my brother and like miss my brother. But then I also got to experience like the joy of like, these are the people that are here, and these are the people I get to spend this time with. And so it was just really sweet. And then getting to see like my family, and like, I don't know, I had so much gratitude. And by the end of the night, it like hit me like, wow, like I'm so thankful for my family. And like, I just have like a deeper appreciation for it. And I feel like I've come such a long way with that, just as I've walked through different things. But this year, it superseded my expectations. And so as I've been kind of thinking about the last few days, I'm just like, gosh, thank you, Lord, like for not even for me how you redeem time, but how you redeem relationships, and really how you've redeemed me through this last year. And so it just was really special. And yeah, I don't know. I had so much like just overflowing with gratitude. And so I think that's a perfect way to put it.
I honor like your vulnerability, and honestly, the whole journey of Trey's passing and how you've walked it out. It's been so beautiful to see. And I think so many people like are looking of how do I walk this impossible situation out? And like someone who hasn't gone through that, like we can't begin to possibly understand. And I think that's like an annoying phrase. It's like, oh, I know exactly what you're, and you're like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
But like you do for some people out there. And so I just honor that you've been so open about it, and like the realness of the struggle, but also like, how do you get through it?
Yeah.
And so thank you for sharing that.
Not only just like your example, but a good godly example too. Like, it's good.
Yeah. We love you.
Love you.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. Yeah, it was fun. It was super fun.
It just turned into like a holiday episode.
Here we are. No, we woke up and we watched the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That's like a tradition I've done since I was my whole life, as long as I can remember. So sharing that with my kids this year was like super fun. And then we got ready and we went over to my grandma's house and had Thanksgiving dinner. It was really sweet. Yeah. And some of our family came in from Ohio, so it was fun to see them too. Yeah,
that's so sweet. I love when you get all your family together. And so here is your reminder, because you're about to go into Christmas, slow down. Yeah. Enjoy the moment.
That's good.
And I think to reflect, like, I don't think I would have ever like looked at last year, like even how you were talking about it too. Maybe not last year, but I think it's so good to like take a moment and see how far like the Lord has brought you, or just take a moment to be thankful, even though it's not Thanksgiving. I think this season like reminds us so much of just what God is doing. And so take some time, not just to slow down and like enjoy the moment, but also reflect on like what the Lord is doing. Cause I think for me, that's what I've been seeing so much of, is like, man, God is so good. Like, thank you, Lord.
I feel like I just want to share. Oh, you good? I just want to share like a little update, I guess. So a few weeks ago, we had talked about on an episode of the question of, do I really know God, right? So it was really cool because we had that conversation. We record on Mondays. This is me just like sharing the faithfulness of God. Sorry, I should have like prefaced that. But I had that experience on a Monday, and then the Wednesday after that, so 2 days later, I got an email from our church that my son had raised his hand in class for salvation. And it was actually really neat because in September, we do homeschool. So one of the days we were kind of talking about sharing the gospel and missionaries. And my son was kind of asking some questions. And I was like, well, if you have Jesus in your heart, like, and he was like, I want to have Jesus in my heart. And so I led him in a prayer of salvation. But then he was like kind of being silly after. And so I asked the Lord, like, just confirm that to me, that it wasn't like, I mean, he's 6, which is a bit younger than I was at 8, but also I don't want to discount this thing because of the wound that I had. I didn't want to question him. And so I prayed to the Lord to confirm it to me. And that night he came into our bedroom in the middle of the night, which he doesn't wake up in the middle of the night often anymore. But he was crying and holding his head. And he was saying that that the bad guys wanted him to take his helmet off. And he was like, I can't take my helmet off. It's stuck. It's stuck on my head. And I was like, oh my gosh, the helmet of salvation. Mm-hmm. Like, you have the helmet of salvation. And so I was like, yeah, tell him no. Tell him it's never coming off. Like, you have Jesus in your heart. Now you have that helmet all the time. And so he was like, I'm not taking off my helmet. And we prayed over him. We got him back in bed. And the next morning I asked him about it, and he didn't even remember that happened. But then after that, I was like, how do I now, like, knowing baptism is the next step, like, how do we have this conversation? So I reached out to a couple of my mentors, my mom mentors, and was like, what do I do? And one of them said, Brittany McCorder, I love you. She said to, like, have someone at the church talk to him about it. And I was like, okay. And so that was, I think, a Sunday night. And then that Monday we recorded the episode. And I got so much breakthrough and healing from that experience. And so when I got the email 2 days later about my son raising his hand at church, I was like, okay, I've had every sign. This kid is saved, all right? So Colby and I talked with him later that day, and we were like, okay, hey, like, we're so proud of you, and the next step is to get baptized. And so he was so excited, but because our church is the size that it is, it's not doing like baptisms every Sunday. They do a special baptism service. And so we had just had one, and we signed him up for the next one, which was November 30th. And we did that yesterday. And it was like so beautiful to see, like, even just the healing that I walked through myself, and how God was able to, like, heal that wound in me so that I didn't pass that on to my kid. And, like, I was able to, like, know that, no, I knew God in that time. And I know my son knows God, even though he's 6 years old. Like, y'all, if I could show you his little journal that he drew his pictures in. I know. He drew a picture of Jesus, like, baptizing him. And he wrote at the top, Jesus saved you. It's just so sweet. And so even that, like, just, I don't know. I feel like I just want to share that story because reflection is so important, and it just builds your faith, and it just continues to show the character of God, like, over and over. And these are times that I can stand on, like, someday again, when I know we'll have a hard day together, I can be like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, this is part of, like, my job as his mom, you know, but I know that I've done everything right that I could by just leading him to the Lord, and the Lord will work it out, all of my shortcomings, you know. So
I think this is so beautiful because as we've all been talking, we all represent 3 different stories, you know. Like, I think about, you know, your journey with Kyler and, like, where it was a year ago. And I think about your journey with singleness and where you were a year ago. I think of me with grief and where I was a year ago. And I'm like, wow, like, we're I literally am going to cry this whole episode.
Okay.
I think reflection makes you do that.
It does.
But it's funny because I got here and I was like, hey, my eye's been watering. Like, can you give me something to fix it? And what was the point? Because
It's
I
okay.
literally just going to have tears the whole episode. Love y'all. Sorry.
I'm like, I don't even have tissues down here.
It's okay. But I think just for the person who's watching this, I think sometimes when you're in a season, it feels like it's going to last forever. And even for me, like there are times just even with my like singleness journey that I'm like, this is going to last forever. And this is just proof like of God's goodness. Like the seasons that feel so hard and they feel like they're never going to end. And it's like, I don't have a light at the end of the tunnel. Like I hope just our simple reflections can be a hope to you. Like it's not going to always be this dark. It's not always going to be this hard. It's not always going to feel this lonely. Like we've done an episode before, you know, about like just the feelings that the holidays can bring up. And so I just hope that you feel just a little bit of hope from truly our testimonies of like, God is faithful and God is good. And we talked about a few episodes ago, like weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning.
Yeah.
And so whether you're a mom praying for your child, whether you're a single woman or man praying for your spouse, maybe you just walked through grief or loss. Like I hope our stories can be hope to you. Like it's not always going to be this dark and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think for us, like we came into this episode, well, we had plans for this episode. And I think the Lord really, it's funny because we've been kind of talking about this at church too. Like our leadership has been talking about gratitude a lot. And so I think we're just, sure the season brings it up, but I think it's a practice you can hold forever is just taking a moment to just, man, thank you, God. Thank you for where you've brought me to and what you've brought me from and what you've brought me through. And I think this season really allows us to do that, really reflect on just who he is and how good he is.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say gratitude, it just shifts your focus. And where your focus is, you're empowering that. So if you're only focusing on what needs to be done or the bad in your life or what lack you have, you're going to miss like what the Lord is doing and the harvest that he has in maybe a different area in your life. And so I think really this gratitude just, it brings out the joy in you because you're like, wow.
I was going to say that. Like, I feel like gratitude creates space, at least for me, for grief and joy both to exist. And I think without gratitude, it's just grief. And it's just hard to live in that place. Like, and it's normal and it's natural. But I think bringing in the gratitude practice is what helps reignite that joy that's already on the inside of you that I think grief almost buries.
Yeah. When you just had a breakthrough, do you want to share about? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes, I can. So I feel like a big, like part of the grief journey was like kind of just this feeling of like, what's the point when we lose everything anyway? And I have never thought through that, like, because I never had to. And so that was a big part of my journey with losing Trey was like I remember telling my pastor, what is the point of all this? What is the point in like living and like having, like, what is the point of all this if we're just going to lose it? Like, and you're going to have to experience the pain of losing it. And I kind of went through this like mindset of like, I wouldn't come out and say like, I'm not going to love anything too hard. That's kind of how I felt though. Like, don't love anything too hard because you're just going to lose it. And then I had a moment over the probably last like year of like, okay, no, I don't want to live my life that way. Like, I am so thankful I loved Trey with all my heart, and I would never change how much I loved him in order to make the loss less hard. Like, I want to love wholeheartedly, and like if I lose, I lose, but at least I loved as hard as I could, you know? Well, then when let me kind of preface. So we're in a group called Hope 91. A group? Is that what you say?
Yeah, it's a ministry.
A ministry.
Yeah.
So we're a part. This was my first year, like semester, I guess, being a part of what's called Hope 91. And so, do you want to kind of explain it a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So, oh my goodness. So Hope 91 is a ministry. The founder, her name is Ruby. We love her so much. She her whole goal with this was to empower women to be all that God called them to be. And so really their focus is to build women up mind, body, and soul. And so it's a really cool thing because there's a 12-week course that she offers, and it's completely free right now, which is amazing and kind of unheard of, to be honest, for the amount of information you get. It's incredible. But really, they talk about the different things that you would need, foundational truths. So you're talking about spiritual warfare. You're talking about who God's called you to be. You're talking about your gifts and talents. You're talking about they actually bring in a nutrition who talks about why it's important to feel your body and how do you feel your body to be the best you can be and feel the best you can feel. They also bring in a counselor who talks about really your soul and why your soul health is so important to not hinder what God wants to do in your life. And so it's just a really cool ministry that empowers women, and I love it so much because a lot of spaces, unfortunately, there's a lot of rivalry, and one of her key principles is there's no rivalry there. So it's for all women. Sorry guys, as of right now it's for all women, but maybe one day she'll open it up to guys. But it really is a great group of community to build each other up and really call out who God's called you to be. So the ministry is 12 weeks, like I said. And then at the end of the spring semester, they do a free conference. Right now it's free. I don't know how it will evolve, but right now it's free. And then at the end of the fall semester, they do a retreat. Now the retreat is really cool because she is so adamant about making sure you get one-on-one time in like true ministry one-on-one, and then also creating a space for you to really encounter the Lord and get set free. And so with the retreat, she only accepts a certain amount of people so that you're really getting that personalized time. Yes. In the ministry you need.
So the three of us went to the retreat, and I came into the retreat like with a big expectations, but also like not sure what to expect. Like I was like, I know God will do something really great and amazing, but I like had no clue what he's gonna do. I've never been to this retreat, so I don't know what to expect. But I'm like a big fan of retreats. I like either I take one personally every year, or I go with like some group of people in my life, and so I'm a big fan of those. And we always kind of like at our like in my friend group, I guess, we kind of explain it as like a holy interruption. Like it's creating this space outside of your day-to-day normal life for God to just move. And so I'm like pro retreats. If you've like never been on one, like I would encourage you. I think I've shared multiple times last year. I went to Broken Bow, got a cabin by myself, and it was like a retreat and many other things. But it just was a really, really great time for me to just seek the Lord. And so I'm pro retreat. But anyway, that was a side note. Anyway, I went to the retreat, didn't know what to expect. But I did come in kind of like, there was a person in my life that I was close to at a point, like super, super close. And they had passed away right before the retreat. And it like threw me off a little bit. I mean, of course it would, but I was like, oh, I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I don't have like a close proximity with this person anymore. So like, I shouldn't be sad about it. You know, you're like trying to reason with like how you should feel, how you shouldn't feel. And then finally I was like, I can be sad about this. Like, it is completely normal and healthy and okay to be sad about this person and this loss. So when I got to the retreat, what I was really feeling when we started that first night, we were just in a moment of worship, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I feel weird, I feel off, but I'm not sure why. And I realized that feeling was being triggered again of like, I'm just going to lose everything. Things that I love, people that I've loved, like, I'm just going to lose them. And who does this all come back to? God. That's how it felt. It was like, God, why do you just take things away? Like, why do you just rip things out of my life? And I just was kind of like, I don't want to be like mad at you. I don't want to have these weird feelings with you, but I do. And I think the loss really just uprooted some things, like it, or I should say brought to the surface some emotions that I was feeling about my brother that I just hadn't fully dealt with, or I was dealing with in a new way, I guess. And so I really felt, I think like I don't know, I needed a fresh reminder of God's character. And I think I just felt like God is cruel. And I've felt that way before. And that has been like a big part of the journey for me, is having to work through who I know that God is, even in the midst of pain and difficulty and suffering. And so I just was like, you know what, Lord, I don't need you to speak a word. I don't need you to like give me this massive revelation or like show me something in my future. Like, I don't need that. I don't need you to speak about my spouse. Like, I just want to be a daughter. Like, I just want to feel like the love of the Father. And so that's kind of how I felt. And I feel like that whole time at retreat, that's all that I felt. And I felt this permission to just be a child, but to also see God for who he is. And I think with just life and loss and different things that can get so blurry sometimes, even when you're in all the spaces and you're doing all the things. And so I think for me, that was a big part of what I needed at retreat. And I can't pinpoint it to any certain moment. There wasn't like I just knew like, no, you are good and you are faithful and I love you so much. And I don't care what I lose along the way. Like, you are the one thing. And the one thing that I cannot lose is you. And so the retreat was really a lot of that for me. And I think, wow, clearing my throat right into the mic. It's just, you should just expect it. The retreat was a lot of things, but that was a big part of it. And so with that, like mending and like getting a fresh revelation of just who God's character, what God's character is, it helped me come into the next part. It was only a 2-day, like I was only there for 2 days, but so much happened. So I dealt with a lot of fear too, fear of loss, fear, right, of like, fear that God isn't who he says that he is. And so in getting the mending within my heart of who God is, I was then able to kind of get released of a lot of fear and anxiety that I was having. Because I had gone through the loss, I kind of had fear for the future, right? Like, everything dies, you lose everything anyway. What's the point? God must not really care about my future. And so I had a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety around my future, my like future projects, future plans, my spouse, my family, like every part of my future. It just felt like I had no sturdy ground almost, like, because I was feeling so like suspicious of God's character. Anyway, so getting the freedom of just truly having a moment of like, I know who God is, then released me to get the fear and the anxiety broken off. And that was like major game changer. And I was on the phone with Ashley, like probably a week after the retreat. And I was like, you don't realize how much anxiety you're living in until you find yourself living in peace and walking out peace. And you're like, whoa. And so I got to have a moment with one of the leaders there. It was like a one-on-one. And I just like read her my journal and I was like, this is how I'm feeling. And losing my brother made me feel this way about God. And I have no like hope for my future and blah, blah. And, just the like tension of like loving God and like knowing the word says he has good plans for me, but then living in this struggle of like, but does he really, like, does that verse apply to me? Like, how could it if I've lost these, whatever. It's just like a weird place to be in. And so it was so sweet. She was like, you don't have to like explain all this to me because I get it. Like, she has, experienced loss. And so she just really understood me and she made me feel so seen. And I think that's one thing I love about Hope 91. Sorry, I'm just really talking a lot right now. But
it's so good.
The one thing that I love about Hope 91 is they make you feel so normal and so seen. And that's a feeling I struggle with a lot, is like, I feel crazy. Like, I feel like I'm having all these weird emotions and like I feel wrong and I feel bad, and they just make you, like, the leaders make you feel so human. And in that moment I felt so seen by her. But what I love about that they really represent God in that way, right? And I think that was a big part of feeling the fatherly love of God, is these people who loved me right where I was at. And loved me in my place of pain and loved me in my confusion and, tension. And so she just was so warm. And we were like sitting this close and it was just the sweetest thing. And I'm crying and she was just so intentional with, like, I really honor how she stewarded that moment. And I just got to be honest with her, and she was like, let's pray this fear and anxiety off. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And so we did. And I there's not been many times that I've felt this way, but like, I literally feel like I left that room a different person. I feel like I left that retreat a different person. And so I got to have this beautiful, like, restoration moment with the Lord. And then I got to get fear and anxiety broken off of me, that all of it, I think, stemmed from grief, or grief brought up. I think that's what I'm learning, right? People say it, but I think until you walk it out, grief is a journey and it's a process. And I'm so thankful. Like, I literally could not have made it through. Like Ashley was saying earlier, you've walked this out so beautifully. But I'm like, without the people in my life, without y'all, without like our pastors and Hope 91 and just the people that have gone the journey with me, like, man, I would not be sitting here. And so I'm just so thankful. And I think Hope 91 and being at that retreat was like a big part of my grief journey, even though my brother has almost been gone for 2 years now. It's a process and it's a journey, and I'm just so thankful. There's still things that I'll work through, but the retreat was, man, it was so freeing. And I'm so thankful to not feel the weight of fear like I did then. Mm-hmm. And man, I just wore it. Like, and it's not to say I don't have moments of fear, but I don't sit in it the way that I once did. And so all that to say, yes, I had major breakthrough, especially within my grief journey. And my grief journey is also just my life journey. So grief has affected every part of my life, and loss has affected every part of my life. But I'm so thankful to be where I'm at right now. And man, just God's hand at that retreat was so powerful. Like, yes. Presence of God was in every single part of it. And so, yeah, it was really
10
good.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
It was really good.
What about y'all?
I know Hailey. She's dying to tell her story.
It was so good. No, but even something you said, I went into it. It was funny. I'm like not really thinking about it, but Ashley called me on the way and was like, what are you expecting? And in my head, I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. What am I expecting? But I was like, no, I just want to feel like, yeah. And that sounds dumb, but I don't feel like, I don't cry. I am emotional. I can be very emotional, but I think when it comes to like being in these spaces, there's a lot of times I just feel kind of walled off. Like, I'm there, I'm praising God, I'm experiencing, like, there's breakthrough, I leave feeling better, but I'm like, I know there's more, and I want to have like any guard that I have up, like, tear it down. And so I told the Lord, like, I just want to feel you in new ways, and I want to feel what you feel, and like, I want to feel, I don't know, I feel like that's silly, but then we got there that first night, in the moment of worship, I legit had a puddle of tears and snot and just like drool. Like, I was on my face praising the Lord, and it was just like a puddle on the ground. Like, I had to like mop it up with my sweatshirt before I stood up. But I could just like feel him. Like, I could feel everything. And the next day was Saturday, and it was such a powerful morning. The Lord showed me so much. I feel like I could like go on for
She's gonna do her own podcast.
Yeah. So welcome to my podcast. No. But the best part of all of it was in the one-on-one, I walked in and I read my journal, like, this is what I feel like. I'm like struggling with this fear of doing what the Lord has called me to do. But like, I just feel like, kind of hardened to everything. And, when Ruby started praying for me, she was like, I just see your heart is like stone, like broken stone. And so she started praying for me, and I was kind of like sitting in a chair, leaned forward, and she got up and she was like kind of massaging my shoulders and being like so tender with me. But she started to like pat on my back, and it literally, it felt like it was breaking up all that hardness that I had in my heart. And it was just like releasing years of, I like joked when I walked out of there, like that was 33 years worth of trauma and pain that I just dumped right there. But I just was like weeping and weeping and weeping. And she was like, just get it out, get it out. And it felt so cleansing and healing. And yeah, it was amazing. And she told me to like picture like giving my heart, like the heart of stone that's all like crumpled up, and giving it to Jesus. And so I like did this prophetic act where I like handed it to the Lord. And then she told me to picture him giving me a heart of light. And in the word it says like he will give you a heart of flesh. And I don't know that I've lived my whole life completely hardened, but it felt like it, because when I walked out of that room, like you said, I felt like a new person. Like I felt just like it's okay to have emotions, and it's okay to be sad and be happy and be joyful and have fun and like not want to do things, or, you know, like it just felt like I had permission to like really be myself, and I didn't have to put up this front of like this tough exterior anymore. And I think, you know, a career in the military for 8 years will do that, and being the firstborn, like being like, you know, the tough kid, and having parents that are like not really holding a ton of space for tears sometimes, you know, like it's like, hey, we got to be tough. And so I felt like all that toughness just kind of like came off, and yeah, it felt awesome. And so that was like my big breakthrough there. And it was really neat to even just experience. I got so many other things, but just to like feel again, you know, it was really beautiful. So
It was so beautiful watching it. I was like, you know, when you're like, you know, they're encountering the Lord. I was like, I'm so happy for you. No, because I was looking around. I had a different experience because I was coming into the retreat and I had such high expectations for everyone coming to the retreat, but I'm a part of the Hope 91 team. And so I was like, I'm so expectant for everyone to come in, and I know everyone's going to leave free because I knew what the meetings were about. I knew how prayed up everyone was, and I knew what we were believing God for. And he exceeded expectations, as he always does. But I didn't come in with like expectations for myself. I was coming in with, like I'm going to pour out to other people, which is totally okay. And so when I was asking these questions, it's funny because I never really asked myself of like, well, what am I expecting for myself? I was just like, I'm expecting for you guys to have like so much breakthrough and get so free, and it's going to be great. So when I came in, I honestly had been in like for like a couple weeks just kind of feeling stuck. And I didn't understand it. I was like, why am I feeling stuck? Like, honestly, there's a lot going very well in my life. And so this doesn't really make sense to me why I feel like very unmotivated and stuck in a lot of ways. It's like a fight in a sense to do the things that I normally would love to do anyway. And the first night of worship, I really feel. And so normally when I'm in the presence of the Lord, I feel his heart. I feel him. It's not that hard for me to like, lean in and tears showing, like all the things, right? Sometimes I'm like, okay, we're in public. But I've worked really hard to soften my heart with the Lord of like, Lord, like, wreck me in this worship, because that used to be something that I didn't want to show, that side of me. And so when I walked in this particular time, you know, when you can feel the tangible presence of the Lord, you know, like you can feel it in the room. Everyone around you is wrecked. Like you can see them on their hands and like they are experiencing the Lord, and you're just kind of there and you're like, hey, like, yeah. This is great. And it's like the most frustrating thing. It was the most frustrating thing that I felt, because if I cannot feel you in this moment when the presence of the Lord is this tangible, like what is wrong with me? And I knew it was this thing I couldn't get through. I was like, I still feel stuck. Like, I love you, Lord. I can praise you. I'm still singing because even when you don't feel it, he's still there, right? Yeah. So I was still singing. I was still pressing on, and I was still doing the things. And I was like, I'm still gonna pray for people because again, I was part of the team, and I was believing for them. I could feel his heart for them, but it was like missing for me. So again, I didn't feel like I was there for me to get breakthrough or anything. So I was just like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. We'll figure it out later. So then the next day comes, and we like split up into these workshops. And one of the workshops, they actually did not attend the same workshop as me, but it's okay.
I was obedient to the one God told me to go to.
I was also obedient. But
we were listening. We were there to hear from the Lord.
Yes. I did want to be in both.
I
They were
did,
all
same.
great.
Yeah.
They were all
No,
great.
you know when you're like faced with 3 things that you love and like all 3 would be an excellent choice, but you have to pick one? That's kind of what we were put into.
I legit, that's like my one feedback. Let me go to all of them.
No, I actually
I
gave,
want to do all of them.
I told her that. I said that was kind of rude because
We want to be at it
I'm
all.
like, I want to experience everything.
yes, literally. So the one I went to was with a counselor, and she was again teaching on the mind, the soul. And I am so intrigued by that. I'm like, and because I felt stuck, I was like, okay, you're the one I need to go to. Because I'm like, maybe it can jumpstart like where I need to start with the Lord. Because I didn't even know where to start. And she starts teaching, and she gives us like this amazing chart that I was like, this needs to be everywhere, truly. She has so much wisdom. But so she's talking about what event happened that caused you to feel the way you feel. And then it says, like, what feelings are you feeling about it? And then I don't remember what the third one was. But then the fourth thing, this is where I was on, was how is it impacting you today? And, it was what lie are you believing? There we go.
Okay. I was like, I have the picture.
And so I was like, I have no idea what event would have caused this. And normally I'm like, you have to start on step 1, then you can go to step 2. So normally I would have been stuck again on step 1 because I was like, I don't know what event caused this. But she said something so freeing that it's like, duh. She's like, just start where you know the answer. And I had to go all the way to number 4 of how is this impacting you today? I was like, I feel stuck and unmotivated. And then I worked my way backwards, and it worked. And I was like, praise the Lord. So hopefully maybe this will help you work out something you're going through. And I was like, okay, what is the feeling I'm feeling? I skipped to number 2. And I was like, oh, I'm like feeling like this fear and this shame around this. And these are just random feelings I know that are coming up. And I think there was one more, but I don't remember. And then I went to, okay, what is the lie I'm believing? And I said the lie that I'm believing. And then all of a sudden, I remembered why, like what event happened that would have caused that to like take root in my heart. And it was like the jump start of me being able to like process this and work through it. And afterwards, I didn't have time to sit in it right in that moment, but I had a starting place, which is key, honestly. And then me and Tara went on a walk, and Hailey joined us later, and we start like processing it almost together because we were kind of having a similar thought process in a way, and it kind of pulled it out of me. So that is true. Iron sharpens iron. Get around people who can pull it out of you. And it's like I had this like big breakthrough of like I was fearing that the Lord was going to take me somewhere that I couldn't carry the weight. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. It was so intimidating to me, I guess, that I was like, no, thank you. Like, I don't want to do that. And so I had this aha moment, but there was still like this, I think like this spiritual release that I hadn't released in a sense. And at the end of the night, we did like almost like a launching pad for everyone who came to the retreat of like, okay, you got free here. Let's launch you into your next season and like pray for you to be strengthened and whatever we felt like the Lord was saying to you. So we were praying that over them. And as a part of the prayer team, I was part of like the praying for people to be launched. And I remember everyone was done and the Lord was speaking to me and he was like, you know, and I've said this before, my pride in me was like, this isn't for me. Like, I should be praying for other people. Like, it's not for me. And the Lord kept saying, he's like, you can leave with your pride or you can leave free too. Like, you're not taking from anybody by asking someone to pray for you. Mm-hmm. And so I turned around and I asked the prayer partner that was by me, I was like, hey, I'm experiencing this fear. Will you pray for me? And she's like, okay. And I was like, I think it's a little bit of fear of my future. And I go a little bit more in depth. And she looks me right in the eyes and she says, do you think the Lord doesn't know what he's doing? I was like, okay. I was like, you're right. But that's unaware, that's what I was saying, right? Yeah. And so she starts praying for me, and I was like, no, he knows what he's doing. And she was like, I feel like there's like this sense of control that you have. Like, you don't necessarily fear too much, you fear what it would look like. And she's like, you're not creating space for God to do what he wants to do. And I was like, what? I'm so surrendered. And I thought that I was so surrendered, but I didn't realize that I kind of picked up, I'm surrendered if it looks a certain way. And when I realized that I was trying to control what it looked like, that was causing all this fear of what if it doesn't look exactly like this? Well, what if this happens? What if this happens? And it's just this like line of lies that will continue to go if you don't get a hold of that, right? And so I was sitting with the Lord and I was like, I don't want to control, like I want to surrender to you. And I was reminded, like, Lord, like, you have good plans for my life. Like, your way has always been better. Every time I've laid it down to you, you've always done better than what I could have thought. And so I laid it back down to him. And when I released that, same thing as with Tara, I did not realize that the level of like peace I was missing out on because I had picked up what it looked like again. Yeah. I thought I was surrendered, and I was surrendered to a point. But when you start trying to control what it has to look like, that's when you're not actually surrendered. You're surrendered to what you want it to be. And so I released it. And right before prayer, we were praying, and I noticed on your calendar it said Ashley's birthday. And I'm not kidding. I had to fight back the tears because it made me so emotional, because I was like, Lord, when you formed me in my mother's womb, like, you knew where I'd be. Yeah. You knew where I was going. Like, you gave me every single thing that I needed for the calling on my life. Like, it's not a mistake. Yeah. You're not going to take me somewhere I can't handle. You're such a good father. It's going to be at the most perfect timing. And I'm going to be able to handle it, not on my own strength, but with you carrying me. Like, Lord, like, we'll be able to do it together. You'll be able to sustain me. And I'm so, so thankful for that reminder of, yes, Lord, you really do know what you're doing. Yes. And I don't have to worry about it. I just have to be obedient and fully surrender that it doesn't matter what it looks like. Mm-hmm. If you're there, I want to be there. Mm-hmm. And so that was my aha breakthrough moment at the retreat. And I'm so thankful for Hope 91, truly. It's honestly a ministry that you could be a newbie baby Christian, or you can be like a very seasoned, mature believer, and you're both going to leave with something.
Yeah, you will get something.
And it's so insane to me how that can be, it can be both and. Yes. And there's not one person that walked away. And I'm not like being over exaggerating. Like, there's not one person that walked away that I didn't see a difference in them. Yeah.
It was funny because a little bit after the retreat, I was just kind of reading about Jesus and, you know, his prayer life and his, honestly, ministry life. Like, is there's a verse in Luke, right, where it talks about, like, he's doing all these things and he's healing all these people, but he often withdrew and went into a solitary place. And I just love that idea, right, because kind of like what I was saying earlier, like, I'm pro-retreat, but I love that even Jesus took time to get away from the crowd. And I love how, Hailey, you were talking about, like, I just want to feel. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes, like, just we live in a busy, like, we live busy lives, and, you know, we make time for our quiet time every day, but there's something about withdrawing, and there's something about taking a retreat. And maybe, like, it doesn't have to look like, oh, you got to drop a bunch of cash and go to Broken Bow or, you know, Arkansas or whatever. Maybe it just looks like, I'm going to take an hour and I'm going to go on a walk or get out of your routine, I guess is the way to put it.
A little bit. Yeah.
Do something a little different. Like
a holy interruption.
Like sometimes if I have like a day where I don't have a ton to do, I'm like, I'm just going to go sit at a coffee shop and I'm going to go read my Bible and I'm going to go journal. And I'm not putting a cap on the time. Now that's not something I can do every week, but there are moments where I get that time and I'm like, okay, or I make that time, and it's just this moment to just be alone with the Lord. Obviously, at the retreat, we were with a group of women, but there was so much personal, like, revelation that God brought to each woman. And so I just want to encourage you, because I really do think not only did Jesus have to withdraw from the crowds a little bit, but I think it's such something that we need in our lives too. And I think when we're just doing all the things, it is hard to continue to feel and to really connect with the Lord all the time. And so I think having I would just encourage you, like, pray about what does that look like for me? What does that look like in this season? I'm not sitting here taking a retreat every month, but when the opportunity is there, like, I want to take it because I know that those moments are so powerful. And again, we have a quiet time, we sit with the Lord, we journal with the Lord, and we have that routine. But it's just kind of shaking up your routine a little bit and just creating that space for the Lord. And so I would just encourage you, it may not be Hope 91 retreat, but what does that look like for you? That's just, I think, something to maybe pray about or journal about.
And even with that, not to be like, well, you said this, but I'm going to say the opposite. It's both and.
Yes.
But you have to have community and people that see you and they can, like, be the hands and feet of the Lord as well. Like, yes, the Lord can reveal so much to you just on your own. Like, he's not limited, but sometimes the healing can come from others, you know. I feel like all of us had an experience where someone else laid hands and prayed for us, and that's like what broke things off. And so don't just like choose one and not the other. Like they kind of go hand in hand. Yes. And so
just to like draw those two together, each one of our stories, we talked about how we journaled or like we processed something and then we got prayer, because it's like sometimes you need someone to bring it out of you, but there's always that processing with the Lord as well.
It is a solitary thing while also being a group thing. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I need to go be alone in a cabin. Like, again, you can have that personal revelation, and then it's honestly even better because you get to really share it with others and almost build on it, or it encourages their faith. Like, I think that was one of my favorite parts, was getting to be with you guys and some of our other friends that were there. Like, it was so special getting to talk through those moments. It was like, it brought, honestly, even more revelation.
Yes, which we've said. It's a form of meditation and sharing.
Well, even I think sometimes people get caught up in, well, I can just get prayer, and they go for prayer of the same thing over and over and over, and they're like, well, why am I not seeing results?
Because you're not sitting with the Lord and on your own.
And I'm not going to speak to like a specific situation, because there are things that I don't know the answer, and I'm just being honest. The Lord knows, I don't. Sit with the Lord on it and bring all of that to him, because I don't know the answer. Right. But I will say sometimes God heals miraculously and it's amazing, but sometimes it's a process and we're invited into that process. And so us processing with the Lord what we're feeling, if we can't even identify the lie that we're believing or the thing we're experiencing, then how are we going to heal from it, right? Or how are we going to move past it? And so first we have to identify and bring it to the Lord, then he can heal it. And so that is why I'm just making a point to point out that it is so important that we take the time to process and really understand what we're feeling and why we're feeling it, so then we can bring it to the Lord.
And that's what I think is so great about a retreat. Every retreat that I've been on, every single one, I come in and I'm like, whoa, what am I feeling? It's almost like God is like, I'm bringing this up to the surface right now. And that's what's so beautiful about a retreat. Again, if you can do a 3-hour or a whatever, that's great. Like, make time for what you can. But what I love about a retreat, they're usually about 2 nights, 3 days, and you've got that whole weekend to really process, with the Lord. And again, we do that in our quiet times. Like, there are days where I'm like, I need to sit down right now and I need to deal with this with the Lord. And so I might sit there for a couple hours, and there are things that you can work through in that smaller amount of time. But then there's things, I really think there's things that the Lord wants you to work through in a room full of people, or wants to work through you, like work through you through you. It don't even matter.
He wants to work out of you with other people.
Yes. And in spaces that maybe are going to feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, maybe are going to stretch you. And I know I felt stretched, but in the most beautiful, gentle, loving way. And I think there's just things that the Lord wants to do in a group setting like that. Sure, there are things that we journaled about privately. Personally, me, I went and read my journal to the person. And so I think we're just trying to stress, like, one, just take yourself out of the box. Like, it doesn't have to look like this cookie cutter, like, perfect thing. Like, I think with retreat, there was space for both. And both, I think you need both. And so,
absolutely.
Well, that's the other half. You get free by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so being in community and being around other people and hearing what they've gone through and what they've beaten and what the Lord has brought them out of, it just builds your faith of like, oh, what you did for them, you can do for me too.
Absolutely. Yes. So that's it. That's what we recommend.
yeah.
And that was, the retreat was awesome. We really wanted to share that with y'all today because it was something for each one of us that was like really shifting in our day-to-day, just how we do life, but even just how we see the Lord. So we wanted to share that with y'all. We hope you can have that experience too.
Can you link the Hope 91
Yeah.
we'll link Hope 91 in the description, and also they have a Facebook page if you want to follow along and like.
And one thing, so the 12-week semester is virtual. So for you, if this is speaking to you, I would say it's for one of two reasons. One, the Lord wants you to get into community somewhere, or maybe the Lord wants you to get into Hope 91. Either way, pray about that. If you're watching this and you're like, man, I have that, like, that's great. But if you're like, I need that, I want that, this is really tugging on my heart, we're going to have Hope 91, the link for all of it below. Just a little shameless plug. But also, maybe it's not Hope 91. That's totally okay. Pray about, what does this look like for me? Lord, how do you want me to apply this to my life? What does that look like for me in this season? And the Lord will give you the answer on that. So we're not saying it has to be Hope 91. I'm sure there's tons of ministries, maybe in your church or wherever, that you can get plugged in. But the goal is just get plugged in to a life-giving community.
It's easy for us to share about Hope 91 though, because it's where we've all been fed, ministered to, changed, so.
And there's many spaces that, like, we've had things in our church, like, we all are birthed from our church, this relationship that we have. And so there's so many spaces that we have because truly the Lord is just so kind and has surrounded us with so many amazing people. But that's the thing, right? Like we said, there's things that you can do with the Lord, but there's so much power in really fellowship, whether that's church, a community group, a ministry, like whatever that looks like. Our heart is that you would get plugged in and experience truly what we've experienced because of having a life-giving community.
Yes.
So
okay.
With all that, we'll love you guys
next time.
and we'll see you next week.